Welcome to the Fantasy Football Hub YouTube channel. Today I'm joined by Jian Batra to preview Gameweek 34. Jian, pleasure to have you back on the channel, mate. We're recording this on Monday afternoon, so double Gameweek 33 is still going. It's been all right so far, Jian, on a little red arrow, but you did take a hit going into this week, which is probably the reason you're on a red. We'll have a look back at your team before looking ahead to Gameweek 34, where you are on a free hit, as much of us in the community are. I am as well, so I'm very interested to see your team and what it's currently looking like a few days out from the deadline. But yeah, how you doing, mate? How's your season been last few weeks since we've had you on, and how has the game week been so far?
I'm very well, thank you, and as always, pleasure to be back on. In terms of the season and the rank, ever since I came on last time, it's been a trip down south. It hasn't exactly gone as I would plan. I think a big mistake from myself on Wildcard 30, slashing Game Week 32, not getting Murphy, punishes me for about 35 points. And that's mainly the reason for the huge red arrow. Obviously, triple captain Mateta had a bit to do with that, but not as much as Jacob Murphy.
So you triple captained Mateta. I mean, I say this every time you come on, Jian, but you are definitely one of the most I don't want to use the word courageous because it sounds a bit cringe, but I guess like differential managers out there. You sort of do what you want and you don't listen really to you don't let other people influence you, that's for sure. So you triple captained Mateta. Fair play. I mean, not many people were doing that. Didn't pay off, but I mean, earlier in the season those decisions were paying off for you, so I suppose it's sort of swings and roundabouts. But this week you're on 50 points as it stands. And Saka captain didn't really come in, but obviously still a game to go.
Yeah, I feel like that was a little bit of a harsh outcome. I mean, I think 2/3 big chances missed, created quite a bit. On another day, that's a mega haul, right? But it is what it is. I'm still happy with the decision, and we've got a game to go, which I expect him to start. I'm not too worried about the fact that he had ice on his legs. I think anyone, if they got stamped down the back of their Achilles, would also have ice on the leg.
Yeah, absolutely agree. It was annoying watching that as a Saka captainer when Marmoush hadn't done well. But, you know, these things happen. There's been a lot of variance in FPL this season. And you're on bench boost as well. So looking at your team, I've got it here on Fantasy Football Hub. So I don't have the exact bench set up. But you've got Williams to play this evening, who I assume is on your bench. Then maybe you'd have Konza on your bench. I probably would have Konza. Then Savinho and Isak, is that fair to say? So not the best, or is that how it's been?
Yeah, if you just swap Areola and Savinho, but they got the same amount of points anyway.
Sorry, I've counted. Yeah, I've counted 4 outfielders, but yes,
you're good. Yeah, in terms of the bench, hasn't been great. I mean, what is it, like 3-2-2 at the moment? So 7 points. Obviously, was expecting more. Areola was set for that 10-pointer till that late Ugochukwu goal. But that happens. Pretty happy with the Kiwior decision to sell Burn for a hit, who obviously concedes 4 and scores an own goal. So up a good 4 points on that already. And then we still got the Palace game to go. So yeah, overall, like it's a bit. Yeah, that was the hit. That was the hit. So decent week so far, considering what is to come.
I mean, that is a very strong hit. Fair play. I've not taken a hit, but that like when that comes in like that, and you've still got a really plum fixture to come, I think arguably the Palace at home game is a stronger chance of a clean sheet than Ipswich away, given they're probably going to rotate. So I think that's looking good for Kiwior's clean sheet potential.
Yeah, to be fair, the only reason I did it is because I really learnt the lesson of not getting Murphy last week. Like, I should have got him and been willing to take an extra hit or willing to use an extra transfer. And I realized maybe the power of the double game week. And had that not have happened, I probably wouldn't have made this one. So I guess I'm starting to claw back some of those points.
Okay, let's talk about your team for this week. Because you're on free hit, as you can see on screen, you've got hardly any players. It kind of has to be done, right? There's not even a decision to be made.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, the strategy was always this, and to abandon it now would be rather silly.
Let's go for it then. Let's just build it, player by player, and see what you're currently thinking.
Okay, so firstly, I would say that I'm not in love with this free hit. Like, when I was looking at free hit 29, for example, which I didn't play, there were a lot of players and a larger player pool of players that I was willing to go for. Whereas this time around, there's not so many that I look at and think, yeah, I really would like a piece of that. So we'll start, as opposed to going with a goalkeeper, we'll start with a triple up that I'm very likely to go with. And that is Newcastle's, because I think they could do really well. So 1, we'll go Isak up top.
Yeah.
2, we'll go Jacob Murphy, because I thought their left side looked pretty weak yesterday, and I think he may be able to exploit that. And I also think maybe just given the fact that he was taken off a little bit earlier, will be good for his minutes, especially because they didn't go on to do so well afterwards. So I'm going to go Jacob Murphy. And then the last one is Tino Livramento. I don't love too many of the clean sheet prospects for teams this week, and I think given he's got some attacking upside, and maybe he could hit the Livramento Murphy combination again, like he did at Leicester. That's a decent shout.
Okay, interesting. I kind of want to get a feel for your whole team before I ask you individual picks. So let's get your reasoning for your players first, and then I'll come in at the end. I think that's the best thing to do so that the viewers can see your team as a whole before commenting on it. So let's carry on.
Okay, cool. So then one Fulham asset who's definitely going to be there, well, very likely to be there, is Ryan Sessegnon. I mean, whenever we get a quality player who's an out of position defender in the game, and it's away at Southampton, which to be honest, I don't even think is that easy. But like from an attacking perspective, it's decent. From a defensive perspective, it's decent. I wouldn't say it's anything like more than that. Maybe it's good, but not great. But for me at the moment, these 4 players are a lock, and there's a couple of others which I would say are locks at the moment as well.
Okay.
So Salah, for all the obvious reasons. I mean, to be fair, he's been out of form. Liverpool honestly look like they're on the beach a little bit. Like at Leicester, they definitely look like they're on the beach a little bit yesterday. But just at home, potentially a chance to wrap up the title. This Spurs game always has goals, and I don't really see the point in betting against him when his floor is so ridiculously high this season, and especially in this fixture. So Salah.
I mean, we'll see, but I think it's very likely that will be the game that they can win the league, unless Arsenal don't beat Palace, but I think that's very likely to happen. So I completely agree with you that I think Liverpool have been slightly poor recently. They've still been doing what they have to do to win games, absolutely, but they've come off it because they haven't needed to be right on it. But I think this game might be one where they are on it because that is their win the league moment in front of their fans, which they haven't had for decades.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like Spurs will give them a good game in terms of the occasion to do it. Like, there'll probably be goals. It'll be quite open, fairly transition based, which is what you want. And yeah. So that's 5 players. Then the next one, which is probably going to be a bit of a differential, I haven't seen him in basically any draft, is Jared Bowen. And I think I built 4 drafts, and he was an ever-present, and he was one of the only... Oh, okay, that's not true, but he was one of the ever-presents. I think away at Brighton, when they've got like injuries, suspensions, they're not in great form. Stylistically, it's a good game for him. He's just such a good FPL asset, and whenever you give him decent conditions to return, he usually does. Now, I know West Ham aren't in the greatest bit of form, but I think against Brighton, what I've noticed is they're actually not so good against the lower teams, and putting them away. They're almost like a giant slayer, a bit like João Pedro. So yeah, that's why I'm going Bowen.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see him in that many teams, but he is great. He's had another quietly good season, despite not playing every game. So yeah, fair enough.
Lastly, like the locks, I would say are Wolves. So definitely get Ryan Aït-Nouri at the moment, because the most attacking defender from that side with a good fixture. I think Leicester could score. They were unlucky not to score against Liverpool yesterday. I mean, they hit the inside of the post, a disallowed goal, which there was some controversy around. So I wouldn't be surprised if they concede, but he's got attacking upside as well. So I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. I love that pick. I'm not even going to comment on that pick later. It's just too good not to have in my team. I agree.
And then I probably will go Cunha and Strand Larsen, but I am tempted just to go for one. I don't think Leicester actually looked that bad yesterday. I thought they were decent. I think everyone's going to be a bit on the beach now, right? Because no one's really playing for much. Like these 2 guys, like Wolves are safe. It's just the difference between, I guess, 17th and 14th. And then Leicester on obviously relegated. So I don't know if I want to go for both of them, but I'll definitely go for one. You can chuck Strand Larsen in there because I'm just leaning towards him at the moment for this fixture.
Really? Wow. That's interesting. Okay, I'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Yeah, go on. Sorry. Carry on.
Cunha has this thing where he scores like these spectacular goals.
Yeah.
And if you went through his goal catalogue this season, he scores a lot of spectacular goals. But his finishing in terms of like the more standard chances, he's actually a little bit wasteful. And I feel like in this game, he's not going to really have so many opportunities to do the spectacular. I feel like he almost thrives on that like underdog type of situation where he needs to be the one to step up. Whereas here, like you've noticed when they've had slightly easier fixtures recently, like Strand Larsen's come to the front and delivered. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's actually the one to return.
Yeah, that's fair. I would say like I'm not sure because Cunha's not been in the team, and then I don't know, he's their best player. I think to be honest, I probably will have them both in my team. I think that Isak, Strand Larsen, Cunha is good. We'll talk about other options potentially in a bit. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, definitely having at least 2 Wolves players I think is key. I know Leicester haven't been that bad recently, but Like they're still losing the vast majority of games, and they don't look great. But yeah, okay. Who's next?
So I have like 3 to 4 spots open, right?
In your first 11, you have goalkeeper, and then yeah, the last forward is the interesting one if you don't go with Cunha, and then probably a couple of midfielders.
No defense, right?
Well,
One defender,
you've
one
got
mid.
Livramento, Sessegnon, 8 Nori.
Oh
So
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, yeah.
you have a bench of just what it's just whether you what you want to play in terms of your formation.
Yeah, so from there it's a little bit trickier. With goalkeepers, like maybe Leno, because I think Southampton get enough shots away in this game whereby if he is going to clean, he'll probably have like a similar type of situation to Areola. I expect Fulham to score more goals, so he won't have as good of a chance on bonus, but maybe sneak one save point, one bonus, and get an 8-pointer. So I'd say at the moment leaning to him, but I don't mind Kepa because United definitely have a finishing deficiency. There will be all eyes on Europa League. And he's got a high ceiling in that game as well. So like, I wouldn't mind one of those two. I'm tossing up there.
I will say that Kepa is 100% going to be my goalkeeper.
Oh,
There's no doubt about it.
Old.
Nah, first of all, kind of secretly quite like him because I'm a Chelsea fan, and I feel like lots of Chelsea fans don't like him, which makes me kind of like him. Also, he got me 11 points last week on my bench, so soft spot. And I really like the fixture. I think United might have a decent number of shots, but not from key areas. And as you mentioned, their finishing is poor. They couldn't score against Wolves. So I like the Kepa pick a lot. I also like the Leno pick, but I agree with you. I don't think, like, from a defensive perspective, that Southampton game is really good. I mean, Southampton are a decent team going forward.
Yeah.
They don't have amazing finishers, but they create decent chances.
Yeah, they do.
I think Sessegnon has to be a lock, though, as you said, because he probably will play on the wing against Southampton and then has the potential bonus of the clean sheet, which isn't too unlikely.
Yeah, exactly. And then the last midfield spot is where like I'm really struggling, and I guess we can talk about this now because on option I have like I have Brian Mbeumo, I have Cole Palmer, who I don't really have any interest in. I have Luis Diaz there, who could be cool. So yeah, but then none of them stand out to me. And this is what I was saying earlier about free hit 29. Like there were so many players that I looked at and I was like, yeah, like I want a bit of Bournemouth, I want a bit of Man United, and so on and so on. But this time around, even the players I have in my draft, I'm like massively excited about. Actually, maybe aside from Salah, I kind of like the attack, but yeah, the defense at least, I'm not exactly too bullish on. I haven't even got a single stack in there, and I would like to go for at least one defensive double up.
Okay, all right. So let's finish your team. Let's do that. Let's do it, and then I'll talk about other potential options at the end because I think I do agree with you. I think midfield is the toughest selection this week. I think there are a lot of very like decent options, and I agree with you. There aren't that many that stand out as like really fun or have loads of upside. I mean, if you're going with someone like a Palmer, normally that'd be great, but he's not in the best form. And Burmo's in great form, but it's a really tough fixture, even though he is arguably fixture proof. And then Diaz as well. I mean, I was looking at him, and I'd love to go for him, but again, is that a great pick? He's predicted to do well this week, and he's scored a lot of points this season, but he's never been in our fantasy teams. Is that a reason for him not to be in this week? I don't know.
It's interesting. You know, I think I saw he's the 4th highest scoring mid, which is like a serious achievement for any mid. Yeah, and like we've barely owned him. Like he's barely been owned. I know some people went through periods. I guess he got a bulk of his points at the start of the season, where everyone was on like Jota, Salah, Trent. And then he's got a bulk now where no one's had him because of how the strategy is like gone. So yeah, I think if I had to choose right now, I'm going Brian Mbeumo, which is not what I was on yesterday. But I'm just taking the fact that he is in serious form. And Forest, if they drop points against Spurs, maybe this is the start of their decline, and they end up not getting Champions League and so on and so on. So yeah, I'm gonna go Brian Mbeumo as things stand.
He is just a great pick. I really don't want to go for him, but you're right. I mean, the game today is massive. That's a great point. I mean, as Chelsea fans, we're hoping that they lose, but if they do, then they might be looking at the table thinking, actually, we are now in a very, very tough spot. From seemingly being in third pretty comfortably for quite a while, actually now we've got Villa and Chelsea, who are the teams we're sort of having to catch here. Maybe arguably City. That is tough.
Yeah, and the thing is, it seems like it's just going against them at the moment. And when it is going against you, for example, like Newcastle playing so well, but they get beat 4-1. Chelsea down 1-0 to Fulham, and then we just about rescue it. City 0-0 late, and then win 2-0. And yeah, even the results beforehand, it just seems like it's just slipping away from them a little bit. So I think I might go Brian Mbeumo, especially because if that game's a little bit more open than usual, he could be devastating as he was against Brighton.
Also, just in the midweek after the FA Cup game, which is important. I mean, that's a massive game. one of the biggest games in their recent history, no doubt about it. So I don't know what's bigger, winning the FA Cup or qualifying for the Champions League for Nottingham Forest. I'm not sure. Probably winning the FA Cup, but
I feel like winning like getting into the Champions League. Well, I guess it's like personal preference, right? Like if you have a Chelsea and FA Cup or a Champions League, I'm saying Champions League, like being in the Champions League any day of the week, not even close. But I guess because we don't have so much silverware recently,
yeah,
that plays a huge factor.
I would agree with you on that. But I'm thinking that must be the reason that I'm saying this. I agree is it must be the silverware thing. But yeah, and Burmo is going to be in a lot of drafts. I just think is that as you say, like with 29, there may well have been more upsidey sort of picks than Burmo away at Forest. But this week it's not inspiring. Okay, who is your last midfielder?
I'm going Brian Mbeumo.
Wait, so who did you say is your? I have Murphy.
You can go with the two Wolves players up top. So Murphy, Bowen, Salah, Mbeumo, Isak, Larson, Cunha, and then Sessegnon, Ainori.
So bench.
And then the other two.
Okay, let's finish things off. Let's do your bench just quickly, and then we'll see how the team is looking.
Who did I go in goal? Kepa or Leno?
Oh right. Do you want Kepa as your? I mean, money's not really an issue, is it, this week? So
yeah, so I'll go Kepa and Leno. I don't really care which way around it is at the moment.
Yeah.
And then for my two defenders, I will go. Oh, well, it's tough. Give me Anthony Robinson because why not? Give me Mark Cucurella just because like Everton could have a game with it. Like just because of our win, maybe he gets a goal as well. So I'm most attacking defender. So I'll take Mark Cucurella. And then the last midfield spot, I will go. How much money do I have left?
Unlimited. You got 14 mil. Okay. So
yeah, sure. I'll go Luis Diaz. Why not?
Okay, but not to start.
No. I was gonna say like I'm fading Palmer. I can't see myself going him this week. I don't think at least.
Why is that?
Early kickoff as well. So there's always that.
Okay, let's talk about Palmer straight away. I think he is probably the most notable omission from this team. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
You as a Chelsea fan know more than most about Palmer, his season from a fantasy perspective as well. So for people that aren't Chelsea fans or haven't watched, the majority of Chelsea games over the past 92 days or whatever it is since he last scored a goal in the Premier League, what's going on there?
Well, I think one huge thing for him is having Romeo Lavia in the side, because what tends to happen when we have Romeo Lavia is we revert to a very standard box midfield with Caicedo and Lavia at the base, with Caicedo inverting from fullback. You have Enzo Fernandez as the left 8 usually, and then Cole Palmer's the right 8, and that's where you want him to play, right? Because the angles that are on offer to him in that spot are just far more beneficial for him in terms of generating output. And there are so many things that go into why Lavia is helpful for him, but that I guess is the main one from a positional standpoint. So not having him for this huge period of time is not helpful. Secondly, when he is creating chances and Jackson's not putting them away, it's not exactly very helpful, right? Because he's not going to be generating assists in that sense. And Jackson's performances as of late haven't been as good as they were early in the season. At least early in the season when he wasn't scoring goals, we were getting performances, but now we're not really getting that as well. I think in general, straying to the left-hand side a little bit too much for my liking in terms of his likelihood to get output. And then, when it's just not clicking, he seems to have a bit of a black cloud over his head. For example, against Spurs, he could have had some more returns, but they just seem to be evading him at the moment. And when it's going against you, as they say, it's going against you. Having wingers that maybe aren't as big of a goal threat as you would like, so you can't generate assists from there. And yeah, those are the main things I would say. I think the black cloud is a big thing as well. I definitely read into that stuff. So when it is going against you, for example, for Liverpool, it's gone pretty well this season for the entirety of it, right? But with Palmer at the moment, everything just seems to be going against him, FPL wise at least.
I agree with you. I think the human sort of side of fantasy is we've lost that a little bit over the past couple of years, just with the sort of the data craze that obviously has done so well. I mean, right now we're making a video for an analytics based fantasy website, so obviously it's done well. But I agree, the human side of things is super important. I think confidence is a huge thing. Position, of course, as well, as you said. But yeah, I don't know what quite is going on there, but there is obviously a lack of something. He's not playing as fluidly as he was when he was battering teams like Everton and Brighton, for example, earlier.
Well, in this picture last season, didn't he score 4?
That's what I was thinking. Was it? Yeah. So was it? Yes, Brighton was this season where that was that crazy first half where it was 4-0. Everton was he scored 4
the season before,
and that unbelievable nutmegging finish. I
That
can't
long
remember who
range strike and like I
yeah,
think it was like under the lights. Yeah.
12:30 as well. Does that mean
Yeah, that's
anything?
not good. Yeah, I don't like it because I know that
Sleepy?
they don't like playing at that time. Also, that's
Yeah.
more than like an Everton time to play. Like when the game is going to be a bit less fluid, and like you go and try and. I really like this Everton side. Like I really like them. I like their players. I think they got a couple more. They'd be seriously difficult to beat. And if you gave like Moyes the whole season with a couple new players, basically next time around, I honestly think they could do really well. So yeah, I'm not exactly super bullish on our prospects. I think we'll win just because we beat Fulham, and I think somehow we'll get us over the line. But whether it's him, I'm not so sure.
So also importantly, I think that Everton they conceded 2 against City, sure, but that was the first time they conceded more than 1 in something like 7 games, I think, since
That's some
the end
stats,
of
to be fair.
February. So that like defensively, I know people are saying, well, then they started off really tight under Moyes and then they've come away from that a little bit. I think their numbers are still. I don't know about their underlying numbers, but
Mm.
just from looking at the score lines, I think they look strong defensively. I'm similar to you on Palmer. I'm not sure. Like if I'm just looking at predicted points and stuff, he is high, but I think he's always going to be high because he's on penalties and he has that historical sort of. We know what he can do in any given fixture. Do you think then? I mean, obviously you do that Bowen, Murphy, and Burma have higher ceilings, or not higher ceilings, but more potential for points this week.
Yeah, like for example, Murphy and Bowen, I could see like just having certain situations that arrive to them whereby it would be much easier to get like a goal or an assist. Whereas for Palmer, I feel like unless it's a mistake on Everton's behalf or unless he does something really great, like our usual patterns of play and how we're playing at the moment isn't really going to generate him anything. Like stylistically, I don't think the game's a great one either. And Buemo's more so there for his form and also Forest's form as well, just in case that game gets a bit more open, given the circumstance as well. I think he's one of the best players to profit from that. And then Salah.
Then let's move on to your defense then. Livramento, I mean, I agree. I think you have to have triple Newcastle this week, really.
Mhm.
It's such a good fixture. I know they've just come off the back of a bad one, but that's happened before. And I don't think it seems to rock them that much at all. So Livramento is the one that's interesting to me. No Barnes, I think he is arguably the form player in that team. Is that just like sort of Gordon minutes concerns? Gordon came on for Murphy in the last game, not Barnes, which I thought was interesting. And then Livramento over someone like a Fabian Schär who scored in the last game, or Trippier who got an assist for Murphy, albeit that was quite a fortunate assist because that was an unbelievable goal.
I think Livramento's open play threat exceeds that of Shah and Trippier, and that's what I'm really going for because I think Newcastle will have a lot of the ball. So I want someone in the final third who can generate me points in that way. And in terms of Murphy, I feel like for this game, his expected minutes might be slightly better because realistically, Gordon will want to play off the left, right?
Yeah.
And if there was a game to reintegrate him, it would be this one because I don't know their fixtures off the top of my head, but I know that they have Arsenal in 37, which isn't exactly like the most rosy of like fixtures, and then we only have 35, 36, 38. So I don't think they're like great. For example, I think they have to play Chelsea as well.
They play Chelsea in 36.
Yeah.
Everton at home, final day. Brighton away is the fixture after Ipswich.
But that's like a really difficult run because you get Brighton on a good day, tough. Chelsea, Arsenal, tough. Everton, tough, right? So I think if there was a game that you wanted to get Gordon up to speed and give him just like a little bit of confidence to some minutes, it would be this one. And I don't really fancy taking that punt on a free hit, right? Especially when I think a lot of people will go Bonds. I think it's a nice way to just dodge it with Murphy. So yeah, I will probably go Jacob Murphy for that reason.
I agree with you fully on Livramento as well. Just from watching the Newcastle games, he looks so much more threatening than someone like a Trippier, who I went with on a wild card in open play. And Ipswich down their flanks, they're just not very good at all. I mean, I remember it was when I gave McKenna the assistant manager back in the day, and everyone said to me, "Well, Ipswich are rubbish defensively, and Tottenham are good down their wings, and they're just gonna."
I remember that.
Yeah, maybe you might have even said it to me, and then Brennan Johnson just destroyed their right back in, or was it Son actually on the left side, who just got in behind the fullback twice very early, crossed it for Brennan Johnson, who scored 2 goals. Game was sort of done in that length of time, and I'm thinking like, Livramento down that left, even like coming inside on the left, Murphy on the right side as well, back post. Leif Davis will be banned.
They can see that goal so much. Like when they just like someone will slip it past the last line, someone will overlap and they'll cut it back, and they can see that goal. Like I haven't seen a team can see that goal as much as them.
That's
probably
crazy.
this season.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I've gone from the free hit being like excited about it because I thought, oh,
Yeah.
there's a lot of scope for different players, to then being a little bit like, oh, actually, it does look kind of feel like everyone's gonna have the same team. To now being like, well, because there actually aren't really that many standout options,
You
teams
could do,
could be
yeah.
quite different.
Hmm.
A lot of these decisions are sort of 50-50. Say you went for a Share instead of Livramento, you went for Barnes instead of Murphy. Let's talk about forwards now. Who else could you potentially go for with a forward over like a Cunha or Strand Larson? I think Isak will be in every team.
Yeah, so there are a couple I like. One is Chris Wood.
Yeah, Chris Wood. I mean, Brentford at home.
Yeah.
2 months
Yeah,
ago, that was
Brentford
a
concede
complete
goals.
lock.
Yeah, like Brentford concede goals, and they'll probably have to win that game. And yeah, exactly. Like he's had a great season. As long as he's okay after his injury, I think it's a decent shout. Raul Jimenez, Muniz is injured. 90
Yeah.
minutes up top away at Southampton again. I like Solanke because like I feel like the fact that he got his goal
Wow.
against Frankfurt, right? It was on Frankfurt, right?
It was
Yeah.
Frankfurt. Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
taking Liverpool away, and you like him. That's respect.
I feel like Liverpool concede enough chances whereby like it's never been the biggest deal to have him at Anfield when the team is going to attack. And I feel like that maybe that goal just kind of sets him off and he goes off. So say he scores tonight, for example, he's gone back to back. Not the worst shot. Like I probably won't go there, but I just like if someone forced me to have him in my team, I won't be like, oh, it's the worst thing in the world. Um, so yeah, those guys. I'm just wondering if there's anyone else I've missed. Even like Wissa, because this guy, whenever Mbeumo gets points, he usually gets points. The guy's a magnet. He's been brilliant this season. I've loved watching him play. Absolutely loved watching him play, particularly like away at Bournemouth first half. I was like, wow. So yeah, I think there's enough options whereby if you did fancy betting against one of the Wolves, you could go and you could win.
I think the only other team that we haven't really talked about is well of relevance is Bournemouth, just because they're
Yeah.
playing United, who the managers openly said now we're pretty much playing the kids because we're fully focused on the Europa League. There's actually a decent chance that United could finish 17th, which is unbelievable, but it genuinely could happen. Bournemouth are in no other competitions. Evan Nilsson's back. He's sharp. I'm not sure about Cliver. I mean, obviously he's been injured, but he has played. Kirkez as well has been really good this season, for example. What do you think about any potential Bournemouth players in that game?
That's actually such a good point. I don't know how I missed them for the whole video.
But
Yeah,
no, to be fair, it's not you. It's like they're not really getting much. The obvious pick would have been someone like a Cliver on penalties. That's the tough one now because I don't think you can go there. I mean, hear what you have to say about that. But apart from that, there aren't really any like, wow, that's an amazing option. And I still think people don't think that United at home is as good a fixture as it is, especially given the rotation.
I think when I was building my free hit drafts yesterday, I was viewing United in the sense that like they were going away to the Etihad or Liverpool where they've done kind of well and they would set up in a way that's hard to beat. But you make a really good point that they're just going to play the kids now, and like they don't like who cares about the league, right? Even if you finish 17th, which is so embarrassing for that club. Like
Yeah.
if you win the Europa League, no one cares because you're in the Champions League next season.
Mm.
And that's a huge deal because they've been rubbish this year. So yeah, I can see it. Like if Van Listen, I could see doing well. Cliver, yeah, I just don't know how much I trust them entirely. Bournemouth with the way they're playing at the moment, just to get the job done and put them away because they've dropped a lot of points as of late.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like other decent options as opposed to good ones. So yeah, it's definitely something to consider. And I think if anyone was to go there, you couldn't really criticize, especially Van Listen. Out of like everyone, he's probably the one I like the most. And maybe chucking like a house and slash Kirkes as well.
So there's your team then, as it stands. 63.9 predicted points, a game week rating of 91%. You haven't gone with the players that have, the highest predicted points of all players this week because I don't think anyone's going to do that. But there are players, for example, Wood. Actually, to be fair, Strand Larson has very high predicted points. Who are we potentially missing? Palmer is a player that would come in and improve the gaming rating. You've given reasons to not go for him. In defence as well, Sessegnon is one that Fantasy Football Hub haven't quite clocked on to the fact that he is very likely to play and be out of position in this next game.
Mm-hmm.
Trent is one.
Oh yeah,
I suppose that we haven't mentioned. He is the highest predicted point scoring defender this week, and then apart from that, that is really it. So yeah, let's end things on Trent.
Super popular pick, I think, given what I've seen on the timeline. It's just that like he was so far away from my selection like pool that I wasn't considering him. Obviously, I spoke about Solanke. I think Spurs could score, and that was basically it. I just think Spurs could / probably will score in that game because Liverpool have just been on the beach. It'll be a really open game. It's more likely to be like 4-3 than it is to be 1-0. And for that reason, I was gonna fade Trent.
That is tough. Like, are you gonna play Livramento over Trent? Like, that is
100. Like, just for Livramento, it's 100%. Like
really
I'm choosing Livramento every day. Yeah, definitely,
wow.
definitely.
Sessegnon over Trent.
Out of position. Imagine he just has a good day, gets a goal and assist as a defender, 18 points with a
Yeah,
clean sheet.
not playing Trent is great. Like, I don't know. Now that we
It
think
is
he probably
Spurs.
will
Like, they do
start.
all they do is attack.
Yeah, it's true. But then, like, would you back against Trent scoring?
Yeah, I don't mind. Like, how many goals does he have this season? Like,
Not as many as he is
yeah.
usual in terms of his attacking numbers.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it. I'm not like, for example, if I had to go without Trent, I don't really think I'd care too much.
Okay, mate. Good stuff. That's gonna do it for this one, I think. Pretty
Yep.
long discussion. Enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But a strong team, looking good. I don't think my team will be too dissimilar from that, to be honest. I probably won't go for someone like a Bowen, but apart from that, like, I can see my team being very, very similar. I'd love to swerve on Burmo as well. I just think that's so boring, but he is in there for a reason. He is a great pick. Can't really argue against that. But yeah, thank you, mate.
No worries,
As always,
pleasure. Always
tips
good
and
to be
advice.
back on.
Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you do want to go and check out more of Jian's stuff, then his YouTube channel is FPL Jian Batra. It's on screen, has been on screen all video. Go and check him out, doing great stuff over there. And we will catch you guys on the next one.